It's July, which means it's the end of NBA 2K25, or at least we're approaching the end of NBA 2K25. With that being said, we know for sure that NBA 2K26 is definitely being worked on as we speak now. Now, what to expect? We don't know much. We only speak on what the game is lacking and things they need to fix based on builds, but we never really thought that this game might actually be good. Despite the Zens and the L2 cheesing and the glitchy gameplays, this is not a bad game. From the badge perks, from the build system, this game is pretty solid. I think the biggest problem comes from right here, the city. You're probably like, bro, what does the city got to do with anything with 2K? But I promise you, bro, it's way deeper than you think. The first spot we have that can play basketball is a proving ground. It has a 1v1, a 2v2, a 3v3, and a 5v5 that you can enter solo or with the squad. You're probably like, what's the problem? There's also a place called the theater, which has a 1v1, two 3v3s, one for squads, one for no squads, and a 2v2. That's already 2 spots that we can play basketball with 8 options. Then we get to the rec. Now the rec been here for a while, so I doubt they'll take it out, and to be honest, they don't need to. But in the rec, you can have the squad or the no squads. That's 10 spots already being used in NBA 2K25. Then we have the Pro-Am, the 3v3, and the 5v5. That's another 2 spots of game modes that we can play. And for those who know, Pro-Am is starting to get the recognition it deserves. Then we have the starting 5. Now for those who are high vets hitting legend, you know that this is the best spot because you get a lot of rep when you play this game. And a lot of people tend to quit a lot if you're beating them by a lot. And then we still have the in-yup, which all our comp players, post scorers, L2 cheaters go in and play for VC. You're probably like, bro, it's a basketball game. Like, why are you upset that there are places that you can play basketball? I'm not upset that there are places that we can play basketball. I'm upset with how many places that we can play basketball. For example, I haven't showed you guys the park yet, but these are just one of the many courts around that people use that aren't park. These are just side courts that people can pull up to and go play at and go grind. There's not one of them. There's not 2 of them. There's not 3 of them. But there are 4 of these side courts in NBA 2K25 that you can use. Now, don't get me wrong, having one is cool because if I make a new build and I don't want to get into a game just to see how he's going to fill into the park, then okay, bet, let me hop on here and test my build out. But to have over 5 of these courts and you only have 9 courts in the park, you basically put a mini park all over the city. And then we have the Gatorade. This is where you go in the beginning where you don't have, your boost and you need to get your speed and your stamina and everything. But then if you walk past, you have the Gatorade courts, which people treat like park. Look at these courts, bro. There's 2 extra courts in the back of the Gatorade facility that people play at. And that is not even getting into the park yet. So all we did was go through every single game mode in the city, not even including the affiliation, elite, and rise. And this right here is where the problem starts. Remember back in Prime 2K, let's not even say Prime, let's say a solid, great 2K, NBA 2K20. Remember how we can go into the park and you could probably get games back to back to back to the point where if your squad was nice enough, you can hit a 30 game streak? When I mean that is impossible in NBA 2K25, I mean that is impossible. And why? Because there's so many spots you can play basketball. And that was the point of me showing you all the different spots in the beginning of the game. In the other 2Ks, they weren't the side courts. There wasn't the starting 5. It wasn't the mini courts that you can play against the CPUs. It was just the two twos courts, the threes courts around it, the ante up pro and then rec. So if you wasn't a rec player, you were in the park. If you wasn't an ante up player, you was in the park. But there wasn't so much of a split that people can decide where they play basketball. So the biggest problem in NBA 2K25, I don't think is the gameplay. I think it's the fact that people aren't really able to get any games. And now if you're a fives player, which a lot of people in the 2K community are turning to fives players because you can't go on a streak anymore in the park, then obviously that wouldn't matter to you. Another problem that we have is how everything is just so split up, chat. Like, this is the journey from me going to the city all the way until the rec. I mean, not the rec, the event center. And this is in 2x speed. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to the difference between the park here and the park that I showed you guys in Rise versus Elite. Compared to Rise and Elite, the park in here is definitely different. People have games going on, there's streaks going on. People have games waiting for them after their games are finished. And this is what 2K used to be. You go ahead, you come into the park, you streak up, and people are gonna keep coming, and keep playing. But the only thing that killed that this year was how many options there were to play basketball. Now, it being 2x rep does play a big part. Some of these players were probably the fives, the ante up, rec, prime players, but because it's 2x rep out here, they're probably just out here getting their rep. Once again, I do not think this was a bad 2K. I think that the lack of games and how hard it was to find games and then getting into games and getting sold because people are sellers, it just made the game bad. I feel like if 2K went back to their old format and just had one park with maybe 2 or 4 twos courts and 3 or 4 threes courts, it would bring back the old vibe and make people able to play park again and actually go on a streak. Now this year in NBA 2K25 I was late, but NBA 2K26 we are going to turn up. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn your post notifications and lock in with your boy. Peace.